Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Shed Scrapper. So today I am back with a one-page layout using the Paper Rose Stay Wild collection. I just recently got this from my local scrapbooking store that is going out of business, and unfortunately I've looked online and cannot find it at a Cherry on Top or scrapbook.com. So it must be an older collection, which is, I mentioned it in my haul video, but that is one thing I am really going to miss about the local scrapbooking store. They still had some of the older collections, some that I kind of have used in the past, and I knew that I just needed a few more pieces of paper because I had a bunch of embellishments. That's kind of where I would go to get that. So unfortunately, they will be out of business here shortly. So I decided, I had originally had the whole collection kit in my cart, but then I don't know, it was like $19 and I just really needed to put something back, so that's what got put back. I did, however, select a few papers, not a bunch, but enough that I knew I could do one, possibly two layouts. So I loved the white paper with the different colors across. I knew I wanted to use that as a base page, but then also loved the green, and then there's a yellow paper as well. So I did kind of stock up on those ones. I trimmed a little bit of the white paper down, added a deep blue, kind of a navy border around that to separate it a little bit from the green border as well. So there are two different borders, but I like the distinction of like the colors, the contrast of the colors, I guess. So one thing that I wish I would have done on this layout was use that same blue to double matte my photo. I just matte it in white, and I will be putting some of the papers underneath of it, so it's not going straight on that base page, but I still wish I would have added that dark blue. I think it would have helped that photo pop even more. So one of the papers that I got was a whole cut apart sheet. At least one side of it was, and so I used that pretty much for all of my embellishments for this layout. I cut these two and dovetailed both of those kind of for my title. It's not really just one distinct title, but those two large phrases I figured were enough, and so I used those. One thing about cutting into this yellow piece of paper, I was a little bit sad because there are so many great square cut aparts on the back side, but I really wanted to use the yellow. And so what I did was kind of pick and choose which cut aparts I was okay with not using, and I knew I didn't need a large piece of that yellow paper. I just wanted it as a layering piece, and so that is kind of how I came about with the section of yellow that I did. I have an idea for a layout using the cut aparts. We'll see if that one turns out like I hope it will, but that will come in September. I have started planning my layouts for September because I know once school starts, I don't think things are going to actually slow down. I'm going to be working a little bit more than I have been this summer. So one of the kind of elements in the cut apart kind of embellishment sheet were triangles, and so I decided to kind of run with those and kind of use those as my embellishments for this layout. So I did have to fussy cut all of them, which lucky for me, they're just triangles, but I am not a huge fan of fussy cutting. I will do it if I absolutely need to, and I guess I kind of knew I was going to need to with this layout because of that whole sheet. It's the reason I bought that sheet, I guess. So once I fussy cut all of the triangles, I am going to commit to my kind of paper and my photo placement. This paper is a little bit more shiny than I guess the paper I'm used to, and my tape just didn't really want to stick to it as well. So once I get this kind of figured out, I did go into my stash and realize I had some film strips from 49 a Market that color-wise worked perfectly. And so that is one of the only things that I did get out of my stash. But I love I guess the contrast on that green paper too. I just love these colors together. And I just love how that just adds an extra element there. So I will go ahead and kind of play around with the placement of the triangles again. I wondered if I should add more cut aparts. There's lots of little sayings on there too that you could cut really any size. I chose not to for this one, but there were some, I'll call them arrows. They're kind of, I don't know. I guess I'll just call them arrows that I am going to end up fussy cutting as well and adding those kind of just as an extra little embellishment kind of layering piece on the triangles. One thing I wasn't sure about while scrapbooking and creating this layout, the yellow paper is straight. The rest of the paper and the photo are kind of at an angle, including that film strip, and I just wasn't sure, do I angle the triangles or kind of keep them in a straight line? I did end up angling them. I think it looks fine. I don't know, maybe it's just me being very particular. I don't know if anybody else is really gonna even notice, but that was a thought I had while I was creating this layout. So I did add another one of those layers to the top, arrows to the top there, and cut out the rest of the triangles. I did decide, kind of wanted to use up the triangles. I didn't really want to keep, I don't know, there weren't enough to really keep for any other layouts. And so I did add another one to the top. I believe I popped that one up on foam tape, maybe not. There were a couple I did pop up on foam tape, but I believe there are 3 left that I needed to fussy cut, and once I did so, I thought maybe I would add it under the title there just to kind of pull that down a little bit. So I am just going to kind of place those there. I believe there is an extra arrow maybe as well that I will kind of add to it. The rest of the cut aparts kind of at the top of that sheet. So there were a lot of sayings and border strips, I guess, at the bottom, but at the top there were triangles, the arrows, there's mountains, and that bear. You can kind of see that geometric bear. So just really fun elements. There was a paper, and I'm probably going to kick myself for not buying it, but I don't know, I guess necessarily you didn't really need to use it for mountains, but it was a really cool kind of mountain paper with the gray and all of these colors combined, and that bear, and I think there's a deer. It just would have made for a really cool layout. So I don't know, maybe if they have a better sale, they increase their sale, I'll go back to this scrapbooking store and kind of load up a little bit more when prices go down. The last thing I'm going to do, I did go into my stash and found I believe it's the Print Shop, kind of puffy shapes, and I did go through and add some of the stars, and then they have like the gold dots. So I did just sprinkle those kind of throughout each of the clusters. And I just really feel like that was a good finishing addition to the layout. I had so much fun with this one. Love the colors, love the way it turned out. The only thing I do wish I would have done again was add a blue border around my photo. Now that you look at it, I feel like that really would help that photo pop a little bit. I think I just kind of added too much on top of it to be able to peel it up and add it now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this layout, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.